Hi guys, and welcome to Watkins Glenn. It's going to be a breakdown of laps here at Watkins Glen, and also kind of an overview of how I approach road courses in general. And this goes for any track. It's not just road; it's also oval. Um, so one of the first things I do when I first load up a session is, I get in here. You want to look at the weather and just kind of see where the track is. So at the initial start of this session, 73 degrees, temp, air temp, 105 track temp. You'll notice as I go through and we look at my laps here, that this temp is going to go up, and with that the track will get slicker. So that is always something to keep in mind. Now after that, of course, you get in the car and I go ahead and I do some laps. So we'll just go on here to lap number 1, 2, whatnot. It doesn't really matter. I make plenty of mistakes early on. And I'll give you different views of as I'm going around the track here, trying to give you an idea of the lines that I'm doing as I'm talking about this. So, the whole purpose of this video is just to give you overall understanding of the things that I do, things that I look for, and how I get faster over the course of a run. Um, when I first load into the truck and I go out and do my initial laps, I'm not immediately going out here and seeing exactly how fast I can go. One of the first things that I do is just try to get some laps in. Um, as you can notice by the attitude of my car, how it's acting, uh, the back end is very loose. Remember, it is a truck. We don't have anything back there. So the back end tends to want to get very loose when you get on throttle especially. So that is something to be mindful of and something I noticed right off the bat. Um, Another thing to take note here, and I'll bring the whatnot, what have you, back up here where you can see everything. If you look down here at my inputs, there is only a few small times throughout the lap that I will actually be at either 100% throttle or at no throttle at all. Um, One thing to remember, especially when driving these cars without having any weight in the rear end, um, is sometimes 90% throttle is as good as 100%. And what I mean by that is we all want to get off the turn, we want to mash the gas. But as you see, this turn right here especially is a good example. I'm never completely off the gas, but I'm not 100% gas on the throttle until the car is straight and I know that I can really put the power down. We'll get another example here, hopefully, going in. Again, you notice I'm braking. I'm not totally up off the throttle completely, and only for a split second there was I completely 100% in the throttle. And you'll notice this same routine as we go through these laps of what I'm doing throttle wise, what I'm doing with the brake here. As you notice, I'm on the brakes all the way to the apex of the turn. I want to use the front end of the car to really do the turning, and you want to get that pointed in the right direction, and one of the easiest ways to do that is using the brakes. So with that being said here, let's break down kind of a lap going to turn 1. Don't mind this Corey guy. I set up a session, had to put one AI guy in there, and I disqualified him. So Corey, you're not even good enough to be on my virtual non-existent practice track. Yeah. Anyways, so here we'll go back to what was my, as you can see here, coming out, I guess. Lap 1, really, you've got your full out lap, taking it easy there. Finally get into lap 1. I'm not pushing anything. This is a 116. It's a full second slower than what I ran. Just trying to be smooth and consistent. Um, so again, what lap are we on? We're on lap 1 here. We'll go to lap 2. So second lap, this is the faster lap. I know you see the red lap down there. We'll get to that. But so we're coming down here into turn 1. Now again, braking zone, very important. This is probably the first and the biggest thing that you can do to get better as a driver is map out in your mind where you're going to brake. You have this stoplight right here, the caution light, and then you have your 300, 200, 100. As you notice, early on in the run, the tires are as best as they're going to be, and I am braking right about this um, uh, caution light here. So it's right on your left hand side of the car. Pretty easy to make out here. Let me go to an in-car view. That way you can get a different angle of this. So we'll move this up to something a little bit more realistic to what you might see in your car. I run in BR, so I'm not on a single monitor like I'm showing here. But as we go down into the turn, again, I hit that. I'm off right there at that moment that I'm crossing that boundary where this light is. I am automatically starting to get off the gas and start to apply a little bit of brake. Now, as you go into turn one, Watkins Glen especially, this is a turn that can make and break an entire lap. You'll notice that I get on the gas hard, very hard at the beginning of the braking zone. So I know in slow motion this looks like it's happening very slow, and I'll go through this turn in slow motion here to kind of break it down for you. So we go in here, I hit my braking point, I'm off the throttle, I'm applying a lot of brake, probably 80% brake, and you'll also notice that my throttle's coming back up. That's because when I'm downshifting, I don't use any um, assist when shifting. That does make you faster overall, but if you are having trouble with getting it into gear without using any of the assist, I would say turn on the auto clutch and use it, because overall it's faster to be consistent than it is to do what's fast if you're not comfortable with it. So going into a race, if you're not comfortable with the car, or comfortable enough to not use any assist, turn it on. Really, nobody's going to really notice. Does it make a difference? Yes, but again, we're talking about wanting to get consistent laps, consistent speed in. Now, practice does make perfect. So if you are going to practice, I would suggest turning the assist off and practicing by blipping the throttle as you're going down through the gears, because that is ultimately going to be the fastest way. And after you get used to doing it, you're not even going to think about it. You're just going to blip the throttle. It's going to be like second nature. But anyways, I kind of got off on a tangent there, which I probably will do many more times before this video is over. So anyways, go back here. Again, I find there's my braking point. Is the light right here. I'm coming up to it. We'll go in slow motion. I start braking and I'm off the gas. Now, this is as hard as I'm going to be on the brakes. I'm getting the car woed down. I'm trying to get the car down into second gear. And as I'm doing that, you'll notice I'm coming up off the brakes here. My throttle input's coming up just a little bit. Again, I'm downshifting, so I have to blip the throttle. But my focus goes from the braking points, which were over here on the left hand side. You of course hit your main braking point. You have the 300, 200, 100, 100. You should be starting to turn into that turn. Where your eyes are at a lot of times is exactly where the car is going to go. So my focus is gone from here to now over here. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the apex of the turn at this point. So as you notice, I'm down in the second now, I believe. I'm going to go down into this turn, and my full focus is trying to hit that apex. So after you get the car woed down, it is going to want to turn a lot easier naturally. You'll notice here, though, I am still applying maybe 10% brakes, and that is, again, I have got the truck, if you had imagined like on a tilt, when you hit the brakes, just like in your regular car, the car lurches forward. All the weight goes to the front tires, and I want that grip going into this turn. So I'm going to be a little bit on the brakes all the way till I feel comfortable and I get to the apex. And as you see, I pick up the throttle gradually right here. And it's going to be gradual all the way through here, all the way through. Now I'm trying to find my exit, which, I should already be straight on the wheel. I will say that. But again, I get back to straight as quickly as possible, try to get the throttle down. And these two things kind of go tandem, hand in hand. Um, you can't be full throttle and have that wheel turn. It's just going to want to spin around on you. So as you're coming up off the turn and you're giving it less steering wheel input, you should be giving it more gas as you're coming up off the turn, if that makes sense. So again, here we go. We're coming off the turn. I'm back to straight, but I'm not at full throttle because I'm hitting these rumple strips, which can upset the car. So, it is quite a little bit here until I'm even near 100%. And even here, that's maybe 99% throttle. Now I've said all that. We'll go run back through this turn real quick, and we'll just give you a real-time kind of view without me saying much of me hitting this turn and getting in and out of it. And hopefully with with everything I just said and viewing it here in real time, hopefully this will make a little bit more sense. So here we go. So again, one thing to notice here is my throttle inputs and my brake inputs. You want to get back on that throttle as quickly as possible, but you're not going to 100% right away. It's not 0 and 100. We have every percentage in between 0 and 100 to work with. And again, earlier on I said, sometimes 90% throttle is as good as 100%. Here I'm maybe 80%, 85%, but I'm picking up speed. I have the car under control, and I'm not going to get back to 100% throttle until I feel I have that car under me. So once I do, I'm back on the throttle. I'm going up through the turns, and then as we go into the S's up the hill here, you'll notice that I'm not going to be at 100% throttle through any portion of this part of the track. Honestly, I am also shifting early as we go up in here. So I'm typically up the fourth gear. By the time we hit the apex on the left-hander, or before we even get to that left-hander, a lot of times I'm in fourth gear as the run goes on, because the tires are going to get more worn, it's going to get more slick, and you want to do everything you can to help yourself out. So if you're shifting early, yeah, you're not going to go as fast overall as you could, but at the same time you're going to have the car under you. It's going to be more stable, it's going to be more under control, and that's what this is all about. It's controlling the car. So again, we're going to go through these S's. I'll just kind of play this out in real time instead of going through slow motion and breaking this all down. But as you know, you come off that the first turn. The second gear, by the way, in that first turn, do not use first gear. You're just going to use up time that you don't need to do, that you don't need to use up. You have plenty of power in the truck. Second gear will get through that turn plenty well. So as we come up here, again, I'm not 100% on the throttle. As you see, 50%, 80%, a little bit of 100%. Get through there, okay, and now I shifted all the way after that, so I kind of went against everything I said. I am on fresh tires. I was still kind of filling it out there, but once we look here at my faster laps, you'll see that I upshift a little bit earlier, quite a bit earlier, just because I want that car under me. Now if we go back here real quick, and we'll look at these S's from a different view. So we'll do the far chase view here, and I'm just going to play through this, and you will see why I am not at 100% throttle over here as we're going through this, because you're really the ass of the truck, just put it bluntly, is just very loose, and so just be very careful here, and again, try to keep the RPMs low, but and try to get through these turns as smoothly as possible. So here we go. Up, I'm at 100%. I'm dropping down. Again, watch the throttle. Main thing, keep that truck under me. You can see it getting a little loose. As I'm in that third gear with the high RPM, shift up to fourth. From there on out, I'm 100% throttle down here until we get to the bus stop. And so this is the next section, of course, that I'll kind of go through here. So as we're coming into the bus stop, I'll play this at full speed once just so you can see it, and then I'll back it up and we'll talk about it. Okay, so great pass through the bus stop there. Car was very stable and under me the entire time. Um, My breaking point is about this 400 mark right here. There's also a line on the track, and when you're in the car, let's see here if this shows well, you can kind of see it right there. And you can see I'm on the brake. So there's the 400, there's the line. All this is coming into view all at the same time. That is when I'm braking. So as we come up here, we see the 500 mark. Well, I guess 600. I'm already getting on the brakes while I'm at full throttle because this is early on. 400 mark, I'm hard on the brakes, but as you see over here, I still have some throttle input, and that's to keep the car stable. Kind of think about this section and the S's earlier, kind of like driving a boat. Um, if you're driving a boat and you have some, throttle in the boat, then the boat's going to go where you want it to because you have power behind it. It's kind of pushing the boat along, and it's easier to turn. But if you cut the throttle fully and you're trying to turn that boat, it doesn't really want to go where you want it to go at that point. You're just kind of at God's will as far as wherever that car is going to go. And it's a lot the same with this truck, with the NASCAR, with any car that is on a road course. When you are not given any input on braking or throttle and just using the wheel itself, you're really just kind of sloshing through the turns. And in order to have that car planted, you'll want to have a little bit of throttle input. So as we go through here, you'll notice that, again, same thing, hard on the brakes as we enter. Now I'm starting to turn, and as I start to turn in, I'm bleeding off the brakes, but I'm not coming off the brakes fully. I'm just bleeding off the brakes. I'm still got a little bit over here of throttle input, all very important. Um, as I go in, and as you go into the bus stop, this first turn in the bus stop is very important and probably the most important part of the entire bus stop. If you hit, you can really cut this curb as much as you want. You can get all of it. As you can see, my entire truck is up on that curbing as we go through here. And what that does is that's really going to open up these next two turns. So we'll look at it from this behind the truck to kind of get the full perspective here. Again, notice the throttle. I'm not off the throttle completely. I'm giving it a little bit of throttle because I want the truck planted. I want to have that control of the truck. This is in third gear, by the way, and we're going through here. Again, never 100% off the throttle. I'm using the throttle. I'm using the steering wheel to get this car to go, or this truck in this case, to go where I want it to go. So again, straighten out the truck some so I get back on the throttle as I can. And you're just kind of playing with it throughout here. Maybe 50% throttle. And what you're aiming to do here ultimately, if this makes sense, is you're trying to straighten out this turn as much as possible. So if we go back here to this part, this is early on again. Um, what I do here is I cut that turn. That was great. Now I'm looking at this apex. I'm thinking about the exit here. I don't really use as much track as I should. Really, you should come out far more on here. I should probably be another trunk length over, and really not trying to hug this inside. But regardless, we're getting around the track consistently. Notice the speed here doesn't really dip below 90. I don't think. Staying around this 98 to 95 mile an hour range, I believe, throughout this entire complex here. And so again, You can cut as much of this curbing as you want. Just don't be 100% throttle because it will upset the car. And again, same thing through this part, cutting that curbing. The truck does handle very well over the curbing, but if you're hard on the throttle, it will get loose. So again, this happens very quickly from the bus stop into the carousel, that next part of the track that we're going to get to. So ultimately, you want to come out towards the left-hand side of the track here. So if I'm in the truck and I'm looking, I'm aiming my truck straight at this point. You see I have a little bit of wheel into it again early on, but ultimately you want to straighten this wheel out and get back in that throttle as much as possible. Now going through this carousel, I did this both in second and third gear. You have a lot more control of the truck in second gear, but it is far, far, far more loose on throttle, so you have to be very careful. You can get through it in third, but it is easy to go carry too much speed and overshoot what you're going to go wide as you go to the exit of the turn. So we'll just go full speed here. Notice my inputs as far as my throttle and the braking, because that is the main things that are going to help you be consistent. So notice again, as we went through that turn, I'm playing with the throttle. I'm trying to get the truck to turn. It's all happening at the same time. This is the third gear going through this turn, I will say. Once we get down here to my fast lap, you'll notice I do it in second, and I get through here a little bit quicker with a little bit more less input on the steering wheel as well. So again, we'll go through here. As soon as I see this part open up, so we're going through, as soon as I see this part of the track where it opens back up here, I'm on the throttle as much as I can, as early as I can. You'll notice a little correction there as I'm coming off the turn. Another correction because I'm a full throttle, it's very loose. And we're getting down into the last two turns, the left-hander and the right-hander. Again, we have our braking markers here, but this line, right about this line is where I'm braking. As you see, I'm hard on the brakes, about 90% throttle as we're going in here. You're going to see a blip, and that is me downshifting into third. Again, I'm not coming off the gas 100%. I still want to have that truck under me. I want to be telling the truck where I'm going. So I'm using the brakes to get the truck to turn in. I'm using the throttle to keep the truck under me all at the same time. So go here. I have the truck pointed where I like it. I'm starting to pick up the throttle. Let me go through this in full time or in full speed, and this will probably make more sense, because I'm making corrections throughout this. I get on the gas. I knew I was going to drift, so a little blip of the throttle, and I'm in third gear through this turn. I'm able to get through there very well. Now this last turn is kind of tricky as far as finding a braking marker. There really isn't a great one. You have the end of these barriers here on your left hand side. You have the billboard that is facing the audience over here, and you have this yellow line. Kind of using all three of these things to gauge. You can drive this a little bit deeper than what I do, but I would advise you to start braking probably at the end of the barrier here on the left hand side, and you should be safe getting into this turn. Now as we get into this turn, you can take this turn in either second or third gear. Second gear is again going to give you more bite, but it's going to be more loose as you come off the turn. Third gear, you are going to be more stable, but at the same time, you're going to have to kind of manage your throttle inputs and be on the brakes a little bit more to get the car to turn. So I believe I take this in third gear, so we'll just watch this at full speed, and we'll see how I do here. So I lied. I was actually in second gear. If you notice, I did downshift here. And by doing that, coming off the turn, you'll notice I'm having to make a lot of corrections here in the wheel. to keep the car straight. But I'm trying to get back on the gas as quick as possible, and we've completed a lap. So again, you'll see some blips there because I'm not using any aids in the on iRacing. So with that being said, we'll go here to my fast lap, and which isn't much faster than the lap we just looked at. Um, but as I do more laps, I will get more comfortable, and I will probably end up going a little bit quicker as a result. Now, again, we are on lap 19 now. So we've been in the session a little bit. The track is heated up. It's 110. So it is quite a bit more slick than it was at the beginning. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we'll play out this entire lap without any commentary whatsoever, and then I'll go back and I'll break down each turn as we go through here. So here's the lap in car. Here we go. And there we are. So that was my fast lap of 114.96. In this particular weather, partly cloudy, 73. As you see, we got some southeast wind, relative humidity. All this does play into how fast a lap you're going to be able to do. You also notice the track temp went up a degree just in one lap. So all that plays into it. But let's go back here and we'll watch this lap one more time. I am actually going to come out of the car and go to the chase view for this as I break this down. So remember, we're on the front stretch. We're going down in turn one. The main thing that I'm looking for here, go back into the car view, is right up here. I can see it already, and that is the on the left-hand side, I'm looking for that caution light or stop light, however you want to put it. Just the light on the side of the track on the left-hand side. That is going to be my braking point and the first thing that I am looking at as I come up here. So get down here. Boom, I hit that. As you see, I'm on the brakes hard, going down into turn one. All the way down, first, second. We're in second gear now. I did all my braking and got down into gear before I started turning. Again, with these NASCARs, you get a lot of wheel hop. So it's very important to get all your downshifting out of the way before you start doing your turning in. If the wheels are hopping or spinning at all, not full contact with the road, you are going to lose the back end. So try your best to get as much of your braking done in a straight line before you start turning in. You're still going to be a little bit on the brakes because, again, you want that front end planted so you can point the truck where you want it, and that is at that apex. So that is where we're going now, to the apex. And as you can see, I got a little loose on the outside, but I kept it nice and tidy inside the lines as best I can. You can go over the curbing here if you do go out onto the runoff area. You will get a 1x. I have noticed the fastest laps I've been able to do at Watkins have been staying within the boundaries of the track itself and using as little of the berm and on the outside of one as possible. But regardless, I get through turn one. You see I'm a little bit more aggressive on the throttle, getting out of here as my confidence is a little bit higher. And we're in second gear coming out of the turn, right up the third, and then you'll notice as soon as I turn in here, right into fourth gear. So this is going to allow me to have a nice smooth truck throughout this entire complex up the hill. Again, we'll go back and we'll play this back from the outside view. Let's do the far chase here and kind of look at the car. You'll notice how upset the car doesn't get with me shifting up to fourth. Really, by the time we make this right-hander here. So again, third, fourth gear right there. I'm staying away from the berms on both sides of the track. They tend to upset the truck a lot. Same here. Stay away from that curbing. It is going to upset the truck. Hard on the throttle all the way down here. And then again, what are we doing? We're looking for our 400 mark in that line. Of course, it looks different inside the cockpit. Here's our 600, 500, 400 mark. I'm hard on the brakes, coming off the gas, braking very hard to get down into this turn, cut that curbing, down to second gear. What I will say is I noticed that it is quicker in second gear through this carousel than in third gear for me, but you might find that it's a little bit more stable in third gear. If you're able to keep your speed down and get through here in third gear, you will have a more, I think, an easier time. But at the same time, second gear, the truck will rotate easier. You're just going to have to be more careful when it comes to your inputs on the throttle. So get through here, second gear. I would like to be on the inside more, but I get down there. I get on the gas hard as soon as I can as the track opens up. We go down here into the last two turns of left-hander. Once again, braking point. We have this white dotted line. You got your 300 right over here. That is really kind of what I'm looking at. As soon as that comes into view, I am braking hard and getting into this turn. I think I did a very good job on this turn. It's one of my favorite turns in iRacing, actually. Down to third gear here and just get the car down to the apex. Rotate through, back on the gas hard because I'm in third gear. I can do that. Again, third gear here. I did miss the apex on the inside, but it did allow me to get back on the throttle harder, and I was able to complete a lap of 149.46. So, hopefully this helps you out. Let me just see. I did write some notes out here to try to help out, or to keep my focus, and so I'll kind of go over those. One thing I do want to mention, if you look at my lap times here, again, this is early practice for me, but you're going to have fall off. It's just going to happen. You may be able to run a 114 flat, but you're not going to do that 5 laps in naturally. It's just the way iRacing is. The tires wear. You don't even go as fast in a straight line just with the way the physics are on iRacing. So, just expect some tire fall off. Again, the main focus is to be consistent on your braking points and smooth on your wheel input and your throttle input. And that's going to allow you to get the best time. Another thing, so yeah, I just said inputs on throttle and wheel result in fast times. And again, rarely am I completely off the throttle. I am under braking conditions when I'm doing hard braking. I'm trying to get the car load down. But once I get to the apex, I am giving it a little bit of gas. And especially if we go back here to, these S's. Oh, wrong lap. Let's go back here to the lap 20. And we'll get up here through the S's. Again, just to kind of put the point home. Notice my throttle input. It's rarely at 100%, and it's never at 0. But it's just to get through here. And that little thing, that just keeping that throttle input, is the difference between a second and or more in a lap. Take Sonoma for example. I know I was quite a bit quicker, and the reason was because at that back part of the track when we had all those left, right, back, forth S curves, I was never completely off the throttle. I always had some throttle in it. That helps keep your speed up and keep your car planted. So same concept here. Again, because I shifted up so early, I was able to be in the throttle earlier, and that is a very important point. Again, there's my 400 mark. As you can see, I'm hard on the brakes even before the line. Um, Again, I'm saying this the line and the 400 because that is where my view is. That is what I'm looking at as we go into this. I see that 400 and that line come into view. That is exactly when I'm going to start coming off the gas, and I'm just going to start braking hard as we go in here. Downshift to third, downshift to second, get back on the gas, cutting the curbing, just trying to really, your focus is on where you want that car to be. So again, if you're looking straight, the car is going to go straight. If you're looking at the apex, the car is naturally, or truck in this case, is naturally going to go towards where you're looking, and that is the apex of the turn. So we get in this apex again. As soon as this opens up there, as soon as I see really this opening right here where it would run off into the boot section of the track, that is where I'm really getting back onto the gas hard to try to get the best run that I can down the straightaway. And I'll cut, again, you're using all the track. I'm not fighting the truck to try to keep it in. I'm kind of letting the truck drift out and do what it wants to do. Same thing here. I'll put this on far chase so you can see third gear. I hit my apex. I'm back on the throttle. There is that berm where I said, it's a good braking point. Now, yes, I did miss the apex by almost a truck length here, or car length. But so be it. Not every lap's going to be perfect. What we're looking for is consistency. And the more you do laps, and the more consistent you're going to be. So it's all about braking points and just getting back on the throttle. Again, third gear through here. Maybe lost a little bit of time because I wasn't in second, but again, it was more safe. And that last turn, you should be able to take in third gear easily, but second gear will give you more bite. Just be careful again coming off the turn. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Just a real quick run through. So first braking point is going to be our light here on the outside of the track as we go into turn one. Again, we're going down to second gear, going through the turn, back on the gas. Not 100% throttle right away, but easing back into it along with coming out of the steering input. Early shift up the fourth here, keep the car under me or truck under me as much as possible. Full throttle down here into the bus stop. Our next big braking point, of course, is going to be the 400 mark and that line when that comes into view, again, from your cockpit. So, again, 500 mark, I guess, is where I'm really getting on the brakes, but it's really where I see that 400 in this line for me. And then immediately my focus shifts on hitting the apex on the first, on the right-hander going into the bus stop. Downshift, hit that right-hander immediately, turning, downshifting, getting back on the gas. Next point of view, I want to hit this apex, so that's where I'm looking. Now I'm looking out here. I see a track open up, full on the throttle, down into turn 7, I think it is. Left-hander, down to third, focus on my apex, hard on the gas coming off. Next time, again, looking at the apex, you see me put more wheel input because I was not where I wanted to be. and on the throttle. So that completes a lap. So um, again, I expect with more practice, I'll probably pick up more time. How much more time is debatable. Also, I'm not sure exactly what the weather conditions are going to be like for the race on Monday. I just kind of did a random session, and you can see what I did here. 73. We're up to 111 track temp. As this session were to go on, over the next say hour or so, it's only going to go up another degree, but that sun is beating down on the track. It may be up to 120 in the next half hour to an hour. So that's really going to make a difference in the truck. So I would recommend, using your higher gears and shifting early in order to get the most out of the truck and keeping the truck under you and stable, because that is the best and cleanest way to get around. So um, hopefully that all helps as far as getting around the track. If this does seem to help everybody, I don't mind doing this again. I'll probably get better at explaining it as I do it more often. And if there is a lot of interest, we can set up a session this coming Sunday, kind of make an open practice, so you guys, I can watch your laps. If you have any questions, I'll give you some input. I don't want to come off like a know-it-all, because I certainly don't. Relatively speaking, compared to the fastest guys on iRacing, I'm still about a second half off, even on my best tracks. So, I still have a lot of improvement to do. But at the same time, what I'm always looking for, and what I would recommend you look for, is just consistency. So again, just hitting those braking points, getting down into gear, um, and then nice through smooth throttle inputs on while coming up off of the wheel input all at the same time. So I hope this helps, and you have a good night. Thank you.